So,
Okay, yeah, okay. Did they use their mesh?
I don't think you can do it while you're sharing a screen.
So what's it do is something frequencies of that different densities. The mesh works is cheaper if you have like implanted that or and so that you know makes use of overall.
I wonder if I can send you the link and then you do it that way. So stupid.
That might not be part of a just create a baseline is what it is. And so then you
And then I just hit the next one. Yeah. It's real pretty. Perfect. Very excited. Do you want this?
Sure, I mean, look, you know,
Yeah, if we want to like snippets, we don't have to do the whole thing. We're recording this and then we'll just edit it to cut out the beginning portion. To like start. I don't think for this one. Yeah. We'll be here in 7 minutes. Perfect. Yes. It's okay, we're working on some case. Yeah, no, it's great. Microphone, we got a presentation that was like spur of the moment. It's great. Thank you for your patience. It's gonna be good. We got Panera coming, got some salads. 7 minutes. What'd you say?
I wish I could have done that. I was like, I didn't have lunch, and so I was just flying around and to and just realized I had a meeting, so
Oh.
Shelly.
Nutrition gave you the look.
Shelly's head snapped up so fast. I'm not gonna lie, I like me some good nuggets.
There's no difference.
I like me some nuggets.
What would you approve at Chick-fil-A?
And the French fries. French fries are not good.
I didn't even really want it. It was
Forced. Your hand was
It
forced.
was either that or I was like, given that, like,
Actually, tomorrow we're waiting. I should go over Sandra's.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 7 more minutes.
Do you want to
So
go over Sandra's?
yeah,
Actually, did it with
I
me
was told I was
yesterday.
supposed to, yes.
Here, actually, let's make use of the 7 minutes. All right. Everybody's doing great. I'm gonna
Let's
go
see
for
how.
that.
I wish there was a way.
All right.
So what is it that you want to know about? Just the, just the water.
Yeah, you find it wonderful. But you find it.
But even that, it's not so much, you know, in my experience, it's not like, oh, some of that comes down to plus minus too, because it's not just far from
Thanks, Matt. Bring on spot.
All good.
Josh.
So what is your name? Well, you just said that I was a long distance runner. So you were 100 pounds in a long distance runner. You just diagnosed. So that doesn't. That, so yeah, so yeah, it sounds like you know exactly. Assuming for that, that's the person you want to talk to, right? About like the nutritional side. I mean, I can talk a little bit about it. I think we have like this. I mean, I can definitely look at it and tell you like where these numbers should be or put some data together and picture of things. You know, you are. Just number seems closer to the emphasize the ratio. Yeah, so water.
I don't actually know that.
Number 70.
But I didn't.
Yes. So you have to be like 60% of your total body mass. So you need 60% of 7. Yeah, that's so. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, so you definitely want the total body water to be up 63% would be. So 60% of 161.6. So. Well, so take into account, that's based on your weight here. As a percentage, 70 is, lower than 50%. So it's not water retention, it's water retention. Like there are certain things that can water out of ourselves, like but I mean, I would be difficult to really theorize on that. But up, just like just like if you gain muscle mass and don't lose a pound of weight, your percent body fat goes down automatically because it's a percentage of body. So, and the thing with muscle mass is, muscle is like this metabolic tissue. So it's just existing. It consumes energy. It needs energy from those calories. So that's going to alone the metabolism, I guess. This will not be and it's it's above where you want to see it. But so muscle doesn't weigh more than fat. Like a pound of this is a pound of this. Like a pound of it's like a 13-pound kettlebell is the same as a 13-pound dumbbell. That might be the muscle weight more than fat. It's dense. Yeah. Well, no, but you're right. Because that's what we said. Which is
It's been on the reformer.
I thought that was maybe like a generic person. And I was like, wow.
Julie's just
signing up. Just go to the reformer. Thanks.
I'm gonna take that as a case. I'm not gonna lie, I
Just
thought
see the
it
note
was
on
a
our online server. Leave it on the porch. Thanks. So in general, yeah, you're not wrong in saying that it's just partly a semantic thing, but we just said that over the years, and it's not really the case. But yeah, I mean, so gaining muscle mass is going to be obvious.
Don't click on that.
Because it's going to. I couldn't tell you that. Like it's not. It doesn't shoot out a thing that says you should drink more water. That because that value is found at all the time. I would say that at this weight, that number is lower. So if so about 60% of your total body weight for you ideally want water to be. But if you just simply pound water, I don't know if it's going to raise that number. It has to be stored somewhere. And so I really don't know, but I do know that it's those percentages that you look at. If there's more muscle mass, there's more water storage, calorie burning happening because those muscle fibers are whole machines. Yeah, and it's not, I mean, you don't have it research. One of the things that the second one says is look at the percentage, here this is a percentage, right? So the lean mass in your right arm is like objective, that's the weight, this is a percentage. So we should all be at or based on
My computer does real quiet.
it doesn't necessarily mean that's what you desire to do, like if I go
These things over here. Yeah.
does that make sense? So this, what this prints out is not based on averages. based on what what your goals are. Thank you so much. Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yes, you're having a conversation with her, so, yes.
yeah.
Do you want people to like get food first?
So to do that, I would, as far as,
Yes.
I don't know. I say that. I just, when talking to clients, because over the years, I mean, there was a time, 20 years ago, when I was a personal trainer, that was part of the thing. And I mean, there's like, I try not to dodge it like so much anymore, because there's so much. There's so much more science. So when somebody says, and I got this I just learned you probably do it well. It doesn't necessarily mean that for you, what you're trying to do, that there aren't some things that
And that's out there, and you can
too
find
much,
that. But there are stuff out there. That's all. So that is a sign that you're not metabolic, because you're metabolic. You're probably not necessarily all hearing the right stuff. There's like little tricks like that. So you might be eating, all the great, veggies and fruits, but like sometimes you're something make it more better for overall sustainability of the day, but it's cells, to cause less inflammation in the body. But there's other factors.
I have a client who has been Bill.
Oh, yeah.
Who has been fasting, and and I mean that's right. I mean I think that's his the proven to be very
Yeah.
for some find that different benefits both for the right person and we talked about it but he wasn't really seeing much benefit. I said I don't really know all the different amounts of it. I know that protein and what's I eat vegetables and things like that. But what was he doing? He was like
He was breaking his fast.
he
didn't give himself a chance. He really was doing it right.
but not only was it wrong, it was like
So he was waking up and having like, so there's only certain things you're allowed to do. Because it won't like fasting, right? And he was waking up and doing like coffee with cream and sugar or something like so.
but he thought that
So
his
he was
body
on
was
that,
just,
spiking it, and then he was just starving himself for like 5
and he
hours.
was struggling so much.
Yeah, so it's just those little things. That's they're the keto remain. Oh, that should be healthy. That was they're very unhealthy version. Right. Yeah, it's a tough. There's a fine line, and again, here's a lot of things. Yeah, yes.
Guys, come on over and help yourself to some food, and then we'll get started.
Yeah, it's, yes. Yeah, I think most people go in with it.
Come on, guys.
For sure. If done right, it can be so great and it's improved and, you know.
So you're good. You didn't plug anything.
Everything's still on.
Everything's still on.
Big inflammatory disease, and again, it's done correctly. Hard to see.
She's already got one. Yeah. She
Oh,
came to the
yeah,
event.
it was a ride.
Good. Perfect. I need your computer charger. Mine? Yep. A computer charger to charge the computer. My computer charger has been moved by me. I will go find it.
Oh, yeah,
Julie, there's plates up there.
I brought some big plates out.
I can't.
Already got it. When you, like, oh. You have to go run over to, so.
I mean, miscommunication.
Already got one.
So sorry.
He is very intelligent, so he works in.
Oh, it is intelligent.
That may or may not charge from that port.
Right.
Looks like it's working.
I didn't know that's exactly what he told me, obviously.
He's very witty.
Boom. Okay.
You know,
What?
and
You might just have to leave it.
That's fine.
That port doesn't hold the charge.
It's totally fine. I'll leave it in the whole time.
the worst case scenario.
The whole entire.
You.
Have you seen that?
I haven't seen them since we, or trying to get text about something.
What? What did you say?
So, actually, I was trying to look for articles. that-
Julie, what did you say?
So, everyone can see it. So I need to touch base with them.
Yeah.
That isn't. No,
There's only space to go to seven. Just so I can watch. No, we're not. All right, let's go. No, we're not testing it. Hey, guys. Thanks so much for working through the kinks with us and being at the very first Thrive Talk that we're doing. My name is Brittany. For those of you who don't know me, I am the operations director here at Thrive. Also a Thriver expert, if you read the little handout that talks about who I am, which is a new term for me. Today we're going to talk about self-care and how self-care is healthcare. Unless you've been living under a rock, obviously you are aware that the world's been a little different over the past few years, right? And I think that we have turned to a lot of alternatives for healthcare instead of turning inward and trying to focus on ourselves for self-care. And that just kind of makes us feel all a little bit selfish in that sense. So I'm excited that you're here today. I think that this is going to be really great. A couple of things that I always ask whenever I am in a group is just for interaction. The more you interact with me, better this goes. Otherwise, it's just me talking to a bunch of people, and that can get a little weird and awkward. I like to hear myself a lot. I can't imagine that you guys do. So I also would love just honesty, transparency. We're going to talk about some stuff that's probably pretty personal. It's going to hit a few nerves, maybe make you feel a little bit uncomfortable, challenge you a little bit, make you a little mad at me, maybe sometimes. But just total transparency and authenticity, and then just creating a safe space for everyone. Making sure if someone does share that we're supportive of that, and interacting with one another. So today we're going to talk about how self-care is healthcare. One of the hottest topics right now in general. You'll hear it everywhere, like you'll see it on all of these different modules and different forms. It's something we all know a lot about, but it's something that we feel obligated to put into place, right? It's not something that we sometimes get excited about putting into place, or maybe it becomes really stressful sometimes when we try to add in a routine in our daily life. So I first want to identify what self-care isn't, okay? So self-care is not selfish. Okay, it is absolutely not selfish, regardless of what social media is going to tell you. It's not selfish. Social media is going to tell you that you should self-care a certain way, right? You can go get massages, and you can go do your nails and get facials. But what about the woman that just needs a moment away from everybody else in a quiet room? That becomes selfish, right? What about the guy that just needs to go to a baseball game by himself and not be around anyone for a moment and just watch a game? That becomes selfish, right? So throw away what social media tells you to do. It's not relevant, it's not real, and it just is a facade that the world wants to put on, because let's be real, everybody's trying to sell something. So they're trying to sell their services to show you that it's self-care. Self-care should not be stressful. It should not cause harm to you or create an overwhelming feeling. I think about my girlfriends who, go and do different spa days or different luxury things or vacations for self-care. Then they come home and they're so stressed out because they spent all this money that they actually didn't have. And I'm like, well, that was counterintuitive. Now you just put yourself in a stress ball. So how's that working out for you? So it should not be overwhelming. It should not be stressful. And it's not hand sanitizer and social distancing. I said it. That's not self-care. We were not created to be isolated from one another. That is not it. Fun fact, since COVID has happened, mental health and instability and substance abuse have gone up 62% in our nation. 31% for mental health and suicide, and the other 31% for substance abuse. That's a drastic increase in less than 36 months. That's insane. And it's because of the isolation. It's because of the fact that we socially distance ourselves from one another and we're no longer interacting with each other. So bear with me while I bob and weave between my slides, because I'm changing this and doing this and all the things. So a couple of things I want to ask you guys. Who here has a significant other? Big crowd. Good, perfect. Who here is a sister or brother? Perfect. Who here is a friend to someone? Awesome. Okay. So I wanted to level the playing field here. All right. I wanted to make sure that everyone in the room knows off the jump that we all have something in common, and we all have people in our lives that we love, and we probably try to fill their cup. We probably try to make them feel valued and appreciated in all of those things. But at the end of the day, you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're constantly trying to be a really good spouse and be a good mother or father or brother or sister or friend to everyone around you, and you are not submerging yourself in the self-care routines that you need to thrive, you have nothing left at the end of the day, right? How many of us sometimes put our heads down on our bed and we're exhausted. Just emotionally and mentally drained, but I'll tell you what, everybody around you will say, you are the best person. You're so fun and so caring and so loving. But you're so empty sometimes because you do not have things put in place that are going to allow you to feel filled. So we're going to talk about how do we identify that, okay? How do we create self-care in a way that is loving towards you and proactive to your overall state of mind? One of my favorite things that I like to do is I like to make sure that I have some type of routine set in place, okay? So who here's a morning person? I'm a morning person. I love me a good morning. Like 4:45 is my jam time. Normally up and out of bed by 5 o'clock and it's awesome. Who here's a night owl? Perfect. Okay, who thrives in the middle of the day? Awesome, right? So I want you guys to understand the biggest mistake I made about 2.5 years ago. I started to put like my self-care routine into place and it really came to fruition in the middle of COVID. I was also submerged in this community. So if you're not a part of this community heavily, I really strongly encourage it. Our lifestyle medicine program is very heavily focused on everything we're talking about today. I got real with myself. I took a look in the mirror and I was like, you are not the best version of yourself because you're constantly giving, because you don't have a routine set into place that fills you, that makes you find joy and excitement. You have your checks in the box. You get up, you go to the gym, you do this, you do everything that you're supposed to do, but you just are left feeling tired at the end of the day. So know that your routine is not going to look like anyone else's routine. It's not, and it shouldn't. If it does, I highly encourage you to figure out where in that routine you should tweak some stuff. Because your routine is like your DNA. Everyone's DNA is different. If we were meant to all be the same, we would all look the same, act the same, talk the same height, same hair, same features, all of that, but we're not. So make sure that your routine speaks to you, okay? Inside of your folders is going to be a daily habit tracker. If you guys will pull that out. Okay, so something that I recently started to implement in my habit tracker. So there are 12 habit trackers here for you, one for every month of the year. Thank you for coming, you get 12. So the way that I use my habit tracker, and again, this is gonna look different for you, this is just a guide, right? Is I'll put, mine is laminated, okay? So now I have mine laminated. I used to compare and contrast mine. I had them digitally for a while. Julie, Shelley, and I all went to a Rachel Hollis conference where she talked about like the 5 to Thrive principles. So like the 5 things you do every day to make you thrive. And that was great. But then I just came to find that it was just a habitual like habit that really wasn't feeding my soul. It did in the beginning, but then I just kind of outgrew it, I guess. So I wanted to make sure you guys had space to utilize this however you need to over the next 12 months. So each month we'll go up here at the top and then you'll see there's 31 days. So I add 2 things to my habit tracker. I add things that I need to remove from my life and I add things that I need to add to my life. So what do I mean by remove? What I mean is if 50% of the time when you're done with that activity, you feel heavy, you feel drained, you feel like less joyful, should probably sit down and think about if that needs to be in your daily life, weekly life, monthly life, okay? So that would be something to remove. Something to add would be something that makes you really happy. Me, I love the beach. I love going and sitting, putting my feet in the sand, reading a book and listening to the waves. That fills me up. I love working with students, right? So that like those would be things that I would want to make sure are in my daily, weekly, monthly routine to make me feel joyful. And then I track it. So then I'll check for each day of the month that I successfully removed it or successfully added it into my routine. What I want to caution you on, very, very hard caution, is you can become very discouraged with a habit tracker, especially when you're starting out. The first few months I did my habit tracker, I was not happy with myself or my dedication. And you just have to remember that it's about progress. It's not about perfection. Like, perfection is never the goal. If you're striving for perfection, you will always miss the mark. We are all perfectly imperfect just the way that we are created, and it's okay. It's okay to miss the mark. Brennan Burchard has an awesome quote that I love that says, where the focus goes, the energy flows, right? So put your habit tracker somewhere where you're gonna see it daily, okay? Mine is right in my bathroom against the wall so that I see it all the time. I've also had it on the wall above my dresser so that I could see it there. Just somewhere where you're constantly gonna go. My refrigerator, you can't do magnets on my fridge. It's like that weird front fridge that doesn't allow magnets, but I love a refrigerator because that also creates conversation with the family. So now you can enroll your family into this. I think one of the biggest things about self-care that I have recently learned is the more that we do it, the more we give permission for other people to do it, right? Like, you are setting the momentum for the people around you. So I think about, like, I live with one of my best friends, she has a 4-year-old daughter. And I think about my self-care routine and how she sees that. And she now knows it's okay to give herself value. It's okay to make sure that she's taken care of so that she can do other things. Otherwise, we're telling the people around us, like, I don't deserve it. So then they're gonna think, well, I don't deserve it. And then it creates this selfishness, right? Like, everyone starts to feel selfish that they're doing a daily routine. Julie's super great with her routine in the mornings. She works out and puts her phone on do not disturb. I'll go to text her and I'll see her phone's on do not disturb. And I'm like, oh, she's working out. And that just, like, creates a boundary for people. And they know, like, hard boundary. Like, I'm working out right now. You can text me, but I'm not gonna get it because this is my time. Now, whether she's, like, meditating and, like, all the things, or working out and lifting, like, it's her time and she's setting that boundary. And that's not selfish. That's selfless, right? Because now she can come here and show up the way that she needs to show up for her team and pour into us the way that she needs to pour into us. So I want you guys to just think about what you need to remove from your life and think about what you need to add, and take like 3 minutes to just write a few things down. You don't have to do it on the actual habit tracker. You can do it like on the back of your habit tracker. I didn't make sure. Put pens back here, Matt, or one. Two. You're welcome. What's your name? Mary, nice to meet you. I'm Brittany. Mary's got one. I just gave her one. You did great. Thank you. Oh, thanks, Jules. Oh yeah, so you just pour it into my big old jug here. All right, so now I want you guys to think about how are you going to stick with that? Like, what does that look like? Right? So almost like visualizing what that looks like in your life. What does it look like when at the end of the day, you can successfully remove those items? Who is Mary when she can remove those items, right? Like, who is Sandra when she can add those things into her life? Like, what does that person look like? What do they talk like? What do they sound like? Like, how do they carry themselves? How do they interact with people? Like, visualization is probably one of the biggest tools that you could possibly ever use to manifest the life that you desire. Like, it really, truly is. And I'll be honest with you, when I started to hear about this, I was like, Kool-Aid man, I'm not drinking it. Like, I'm not about it. Like, you got your bubble tea sounding weird. Like, no, I like visualization. You want me to close my eyes and visualize who I want to be? Like, that's so ridiculous. And then I met Julie Blandon, and she made me sit down and visualize things. Like, she really did. And the first few times I was doing it with her, I was like, this is insane. We are sitting here and we are talking about our future person and who they are. And I can confidently say that I have become her. You know what I mean? And it's like wild to look back on myself 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago now, and like think about who I wanted to become and how I'm becoming her because I'm visualizing it. So I want you to get really, really connected to who you want to become and how your daily routine is going to influence that. Because it's going to influence it one way or the other, right? Like, you can make progress or you can make excuses. You don't get to make both. You have one or the other. And like, now is your opportunity to figure it out. And it does not have to be perfect. Like, it really, really doesn't. So I want you guys to close your eyes. I want you to close your eyes and I want you to visualize who that person is in 30 days with adding or subtracting those items. What do they look like? What are they joyful? Are they excited? Are they charismatic? Are they grounded a little bit more? Now I want you to write down on the back of your habit tracker what that visualization made you feel like. And if you can't think of anything right now, that's totally fine. You don't have to write anything. But I want to challenge you to get to a space where you can write about it, right? Because honestly, like, if you want to, excuse me, accomplish something you've never done before, you have to do things you've never done before. You have to go beyond the barriers of your comfortable little house that you live in. Like, you have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? Does anyone know how a diamond's made? Not diamonds. So a diamond is a piece of coal that is found very deep in the earth, and it is literally put under a ton of pressure and fire and heat and horrible circumstances that 99% of things on this planet cannot live through, but that piece of coal turns into a beautiful diamond. Like, that's your life, right? Like, if you are willing to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, if you are willing to be that piece of coal and be in the fire and be under pressure and go through things that are stressful and feel like you failed and all of those horrible things the world wants to tell you, you will come out the other side as a diamond. I can guarantee you, if you get your daily routine in place that makes you feel successful, that makes you thrive, that makes you excited to show up every day as your best self, regardless if you are going to rock it or not. So what does that daily routine look like for you? Does anyone want to share? Real interactive bunch. Blandon, I'm going to volunteer you. I know you got a good daily routine.
My daily routine requires me to get up before 6 a.m. and have and to have
And to do like the things that I like to do, I have to do it before 7:30, or it never happens the rest of the day. By the time 7:30, 8 o'clock comes, all my other responsibilities start kicking in, so I like to meditate and have a little morning devotional, and I like to kind of sit and have my quiet time. And I feel like when I do that, it just sets my day up better. And so that's important to me. I usually go for a walk, or I do some kind of movement for 30 minutes.
Yep.
So at my quiet time, then I have to do something for movement, whether it's go for a 30-minute walk, or do my elliptical, or Pilates, or yoga, some kind of mobility routine.
And how
then
successful,
I don't check my email until after 7:30.
how successful will you say you are executing that 30 days out of the month? Pretty good?
Wasn't always good,
There it is.
but I mean, I probably do it at least, 25, 27 times.
Yeah. And like, self-care is not easy. How long did it take you to get to that point?
Just took me realizing I'm a better person for everyone else. I show up better for everyone else when I do that every morning. When I'm consistent in that, and I feel like I did that for myself, then I'm better for everyone else throughout the day, and I have better relationships, and I feel like more productive, I'm not stressed out, and that seeing that pattern of behavior that I was managing my stressors better, life stressors better, was what made it worth it to me.
So the things that bring us joy, the things that make us happy, and it might not be working out, it might not be going for a walk, it might be sitting down and having a glass of wine and watching a good documentary on something. It might be sitting and reading a book for 45 minutes without being interrupted, right? It might be taking a bath. It might be taking a shower with eucalyptus in it. Like, you know what I'm saying? It might be drinking some whiskey. Like, it might be building something in the garage. Like, it can be whatever it is that brings you joy, because those joyful things, they are an unlimited supply to your pitcher. They are the water that consistently pours into that pitcher. And fun fact, if you have an unlimited supply of water pouring into your pitcher will overflow to others. You will never have to pour out. You will never have to pour out to other people, because you will be constantly making sure that you are filled with things that bring you joy. It might be a concert. It might be just sitting and listening to classical music, right? Like, figure out what it is that makes you feel happy and add it into your daily routine. Yes, exercising 100%, even if you don't like it, it's going to be good for you guys. I know no one wants to hear it. Eating right, also going to be good for you guys. There's going to be other Thrive Talks about all of that fun stuff. What I'm here to say is you also have to have things that bring you joy. That you know without a doubt in your mind is going to make you happy in the middle of doing it. For me, that happens to be working out, right? And it's not easy. I will tell you that my journey has been like this water bottle. Everyone always comments on it. This water bottle, guys, I have literally been drinking a gallon of water for over 10 years. And it probably took me a solid 4 to 5 years in the beginning to become successful at drinking the whole gallon. It's not easy, right? And I don't know about you guys, but who is their own worst enemy in this room? I am the most critical person on myself that I know, right? And I recently finished up business coaching. And one of the biggest tools that I got away from my business coaching was celebrating myself. You want to talk about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable? I don't celebrate myself. No, ma'am. No, sir. I celebrate all the people around me. I will be your biggest cheerleader. I am the hypest of hype girls. Like, I am here for you. Me? I could have done a little bit better. I could have been a little bit faster. I could have been a little bit more, like, I just pick, right? And my coach was like, what kind of example are you setting for your team if you never celebrate yourself? You never give them room to celebrate themselves, right? And I'm like, oh, I don't like that. So I had to start getting excited about celebrating myself, and not just celebrating myself, but I had to get excited about celebrating my failures, in a sense that they are an opportunity, right? Your mind can decide if a failure is a weight that holds you down or a springboard you get to launch off of. right? I don't know about you, but I like the springboard version, right? And like that's such a foreign concept to me, but I can confidently tell you, if you really want to become successful with finding things that bring you joy and creating a daily routine that makes you thrive, you have to be ready to boldly fail. I'm not talking about like little fails. I'm talking about like boldly failing. Like sharing with your friends and family, like this is the new adventure I've set on, like this is what I'm doing. And when you miss the mark and they're like, oh, I knew she couldn't do it. I knew he couldn't do it. You stand up and say, that was an awesome opportunity for me to know what not to do. Like, I know not to stay up till midnight watching TV if I want to become a morning person. You know what I mean? Like, and just like knowing that it's okay. It's okay to fail. Like failure, who was it that said it? Was it, I don't know, I don't have it. Failure, I don't know who said it. Someone super smart said it. It was like Tony Robbins or Dave Ramsey or Brennan Burchard or someone. But failure is just success that you happen to be standing on top of. It's just a pile of failures that you're standing on top of instead of underneath. That's all success is. If you can tell me one person that has successfully executed a big monumental task, like creating a daily routine that allows you to feel alive and thrive, isn't an easy feat. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna one day at the gym be able to do a lunge. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna go out for the basketball team and I'm gonna try my best to be at the basketball team. Like creating a thriving lifestyle is the hardest thing to do because everyone else is rooting against you. Like they are, they truly are, right? Because everybody wants to be somebody else's priority, but nobody wants to be their own. I know that that's harsh and I know that that sounds bad, but at the end of the day, like making sure that you are willing to stand firm in your daily routine and know that when you fail, it's okay, is what's going to create success. Like that's going to be your success. How many people have started a New Year's resolution or a new program that they're going to do and less than 30 days into it, they stop doing it? That's been me, 100%, right? Because then I beat myself up. Well, I already missed 2 days of it and well, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, well, I guess I just give up and like not do it and blah, 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 instead of being like, well, okay, I guess I'm gonna either pick up where I left off or I'm gonna start over. And knowing that that's okay. I can think of so many different things in my life that I gave up on because I ran into a roadblock or failure. And my life probably would have been so different if I wouldn't have done that. And my daily routine is one of them that I did not give up on, regardless of how much success or failure that I felt. So your mindset is going to be one of the most powerful things that you have in this process. And we do a lot of mindset mastery here at Thrive, and we do a lot of principles that just talk about like the power of the mind and your internal dialogue. You spend the most time with yourself, right? Like you spend the most time with yourself. And as you go about this journey, like we're going to check in with you guys, like as you are going about your daily routine journey. Mary, that's why I got your name. So don't worry, I got you. And we're going to just check in and see how it's going. And it's okay if it's not going the way that you wanted it to go, because your biggest frustration can become your greatest motivation if you focus with the right mindset. So like that's what we're trying to do with this lifestyle medicine program. That's what we're trying to do with these Thrive Talks, is create this community. Create a community that says, hey, we got you. Like, it's okay. Like, we're in this together. It's not perfect. It's progress. Like, if you think about a baby, when a baby is crawling and it's learning to walk and it falls, what happens? Everyone's, oh my gosh, yeah! Help them back up and like do it again, right? If we trip and fall, what happens? Ha, knew it wasn't gonna work out. That sucks. Knew it wasn't gonna work out for her, right? And then we're like, don't look at me, I'm so embarrassed. Instead of being like, well, good thing I had knee pads on, like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like as a society, we do not normalize failure enough. It's like we become fearful when we fail. And fear has two meanings. It's an acronym, right? It's not an actual word. It's an acronym. You can forget everything and run when you're faced with fear, or you can face everything and rise. Like those are your options when you're fearful. Those are the options when you fail. Like that's what we are trying to do here at Thrive. Like that's we're literally it takes one revelation to create a revolution. And that woman sitting in that chair over there, she had a revelation. Okay, like legitimately, she had a revelation many, many years ago, and it's taken her a little hot second to get a revolution going, but we're doing it. That's what we're trying to do here at Thrive. So all of that to say, I want to encourage you guys to focus on your daily routine, okay? And we'll probably check in with you in the next week and just see how it's going. I want to challenge you to focus on visualization and write about who that person is, and just encourage you to show up for yourself. Know that it's not selfish. Know that setting boundaries are not bad, because those who love you will support you, and those that don't support you don't matter at the end of the day. I know that that's harsh, and I know that that's like saying some things that might get some people mad at me, but when push comes to shove, if you really cared about my overall mental, physical, emotional, spiritual health, like well-being and health, then if I came to you and said, this is what I need to do to feel joy in my life, I sure as heck hope that you would support that. And if you don't, maybe we need to have a different conversation. Maybe that's something that needs to get removed. Right? So I want to encourage you to set out some habits, start putting them into place, visualize who you want to become, and just get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Thank you guys for coming to my talk. Yeah. There are little stickers. Thanks, guys. There are little stickers in your folder that say self-care shouldn't be rare. That's like my hashtag motto. Allison found the slogan, and I'm really obsessed with it. So I think that the more that we normalize self-care and daily routines, the more that we'll be able to influence those around us in a healthy way too. Yeah. You're welcome. Bunches of resources in there for you guys too.
Brittany has the most richest self-care routine ever. She doesn't give it up. So she picked this topic, so that was great.
Oh, you're welcome. Allison, how was